Hello everyone, Gareth here from WhatCulture Wrestling, bringing you another edition of Solo Thursday news. There's some kind of weird thing we can do with that, but we're not going to do it right now because I need to talk about a lot of stuff that's been going down on Dynamite, other reports from around the wrestling world, and I'm going to do it on my own because everyone's off. Everyone's having a nice, jolly old time in the weird, festive middle ground between Christmas and New Year's where you don't really know what day it is, but we know it's Thursday, and we know that we need to talk about the fact that Dragon Lee has now signed with WWE. Yes, that has become a thing because hot on the heels of helping beat FDR, the AAA, I'm going to try and say this without completely destroying the actual pronunciation, but the Noche de Campeones show, probably destroyed that pronunciation, but I'm just here for the good times, aren't I? So he won that match with Dralistico, his brother, and they became the new AAA World Tag Team Champions. And then after that, well, during this period as well, like throughout the kind of the show itself, there've been reports of Dragon Lee signing with WWE, and this was going to be his last appearance for AAA before going to WWE in January. And he confirmed this after the match. The belts were then vacated, so it was kind of AAA's way of going, yeah, thanks for your service, mate. We're going to send you on your way with a lovely victorious moment. He addressed the crowd. He had a nice emotional moment where he was talking about representing Mexico going into this new WWE chapter of his life, a big old chapter. And on top of this, we had, I think, NXT. He's going to be going to NXT. So NXT did a big thing on Twitter saying, oh, here he is, Dragon Lee, this superstar, mass luchador, like, you get excited, here he is. And Triple H put, like, he quote tweeted that NXT thing of him, like, doing his address to the crowd, and he said, I'm gonna do the quote here from Triple H because I'm not gonna make it up, mama. He said that he's just getting started. He says he's an unbelievable athlete, all these things, and he was just putting him over as this epic performer who could be, in his own words, he wants to be like the second coming of Rey Mysterio. He wants to be this massive, huge star for WWE. He said this to ESPN, who were reporting this as it was happening. They were like the official report source of like him going to WWE in the first place. And in that report itself, he said that Finn Balor was a major force in getting him to come to WWE. He said that Balor told me, would you like to be in WWE? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? It was something special for me. So I think, yeah, this could be a huge move for him. He's 27, I think. He's a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So that in itself, that's a huge accolade to have at 27. And he looks like somebody that they could very realistically morph into this second coming of Rey Mysterio. That's a bit of a poison chalice, obviously, we know at this point, because a lot of wrestlers have had that kind of moniker bestowed on them, like the second Rey Mysterio, and hopefully he can just be the first Dragon Lee in WWE and just be this huge sensation. And it's worth noting as well that James Kimball, who's WWE's head of talent strategy and operations, commented on this huge acquisition. Yes, he commented on it. He said, Dragon Lee is a tremendous talent that will immediately add value to the NXT roster. This signing is reflective of WWE's renewed emphasis on globalizing our talent pipeline, with Latin America positioned as a focal market. So I think if you know anything about Dragon Lee, you know that he's just an incredible talent. Just go and check out some of his videos online on YouTube, and even that match itself with FTR, he's an incredible star. And I think he'll do some pretty good stuff in NXT. I think he'll get that time there to kind of just get acclimatized to the WWE way of doing things and like how they go about wrestling in. It's a completely different show, isn't it? It's a completely different vibe, like environment to AAA and CCML, all these kind of places where he's been in the past, and New Japan. And I think he's made for it. I think he will. I think if he gets his promo game sorted and everything else, we could have a superstar on our hands. But speaking of superstars we had on our hands, and then they disappeared from our hands and television, and there was a lot of controversy, loads of little things. That's a segue, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to talk about CM Punk. Of course we are, because it's 2022, and I don't think we've got through a single news video without not talking about CM Punk at this point. So we are going to mention it because I think if you saw this yesterday, Dax Harwood has his new podcast, the FTR podcast, and he was talking about CM Punk. I think it was pretty much all centered around him. And he said that he pretty much put out a plea at the end. He was saying, guys, can we just get this sorted? The Elite, CM Punk, just get on the same page. Let's make loads of money and let's set the business up for a bright new future. Let's do this. That's what he said. And in response to this, the Pro Wrestling Podcast, they shared Harwood's aforementioned quote comment thing, the big plea comment that he put out, and they put it there on their Instagram. And CM Punk himself, of all people, he put a comment. He put a comment to this, and their caption was, "Let's just shake hands and say sorry, lol, no, but seriously." And Punk just commented, "Duh." As in, like, yeah, obviously, let's just do that. That's what it came across as. And that was noticed by Fightful Sean Ross Sapp. He put it on Twitter. But it was very interesting. And it was very interesting. Whether this means that Punk is very much open to just letting bygones be bygones, or he wants the Elite to apologise to him, or vice versa, whatever it is, it's interesting. I think it's another little tidbit. There's little stuff just trickling all over the place. The Hardwood comments themselves, if you've not seen them, go and check them out. There's a lot of little things in there where you're like, I don't think we're hearing the full story, or whatever it is. I don't think we ever will hear the full story, because it's just one of those kind of investigation things. Nobody can officially talk about what happened who was like directly involved with it, we think, at this point. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens next. It feels like just when you think you know everything there is to know at a certain point about this whole brawl out, fiasco, debacle, whatever you want to call it, something else gets added into the mix. Will we see CM Punk return to AEW at some point in 2023? Dax Harwood seems to want to and hopes that will happen. A lot of us do. Let's be honest. We want to see these incredible wrestlers all work together and make a lot of money and make history, and that's what they can do. So just get on the same page. Let's do it. But two people who very much were not on the same page, let's say, last night, and the Dynamite New Year's Smash event, which was pretty damn cool, that episode of Dynamite. Go and check that out if you've not already. I mean, if you've not already and you're going to listen to this bit that's going to happen next, then I'm going to provide you with huge spoilers. So pause the video, go and watch the show, come back, and we'll have a chat, because we are going to talk about the fact that Samoa Joe was defending his TNT Championship against Wardlow, his long-time rival at this point. They've been like feuding for a couple of months. And he was successful. He defended that championship, but it was after he attacked Wardlow earlier in the night. He smashed him with a knee, I think, with a lead pipe. He just absolutely pulverized his knee. So Wardlow was already kind of up against it in this match. And then when it came to the actual bout itself, he lost to a coquina clutch. He passed out, really. And then after the match, we were like, Samoa Joe going to show him a bit of respect because they've had a big old war. No, of course he didn't. He went at him with the belt, the TNT Championship, knocked him down. He was like, I'm not finished there. And he went for the top knot. All right, he went straight for the top knot with a pair of scissors. And speaking as a guy who cannot grow his hair, watching another man who's got luscious locks get his hair cut, it's heartbreaking. You never want to see that kind of stuff. If you've got it, you should flaunt it. You should never have it taken away from you. So it really hit a note with me. Okay, I got very upset, very, very frustrated and just heartbroken at this development. And it looked like he was going to go even more, and he maybe even would have shaved his entire head off. But Darby Allin arrived on the scene and whacked Samoa Joe in the back with a skateboard, because that's just what he's want to do. And it now looks like maybe we're going to have Darby Allin transitioning into that TNT Championship title picture, which is something we've already kind of seen a little bit, because they've already had a match, which is a pretty good match, so I'm not completely against seeing a bit more of that. Or maybe we have like a tag thing going on. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it was interesting. It was shocking to see Wardlow lose his beloved man bun on Dynamite, so that was interesting. And I think the Elite as well, made the best of 7 series go to that 7th match, which is going to be the crazy ladder match from hell. So that was also huge. There were a lot of stuff that happened on Dynamite. I've not got enough time to sit here and just talk to you about everything that went down. So go and check it out, and go and check out WhatCulture.com, because we've got loads of little updates on there as well. But the last news story we're going to talk about today does center around some AEW talents. AEW talents who were on New Year's Smash, well, one of them was at least. You had Tay Mello was there. She was in a tag match. She teamed with Anna Jay to take on Willow Nightingale. And she also took on, Ruby Soho, of course. Sorry, my brain's I've got a lot of information going in right now, and I'm just using my notes because my brain's fried. But she was in that match. She was in that tag match. But originally, she wasn't supposed to be there, because she was supposed to be at AAA's Noche de Campeones show alongside her lover, her hubby, Sammy Guevara. They were supposed to be defending their AAA Mixed Tag Team World Championship belts, titles of glory. They were meant to be defending those against the teams of Commander and Sexy Star, the second, number 2, and Octagon Jr. and Lady Shani. They were going to have a 3-way mixed tag title match thing that was going to be happening, but they no-showed the event because obviously they were double booked, and then this led to Conan appearing before the match and saying, you know what, we're sick of this. They've no-showed a couple of events now. They've got a lot of demands. They want their own referee. They want their own stylist. So it was kind of like, it felt half worked, half not. They were like trying to infuse a bit of storyline stuff because they are the heels, but then equally they have no-showed a few events just for a number of reasons. There's been a lot of stuff about that. Go and check it out online. A lot of reports that they've missed a few events. And he just said, you know what, we're done with this. We're stripping them of the belts. We're going to have this match. And we're going to, instead of having those in the match in the three-way, it's still going to be a three-way. But instead of them, we're going to have Abisimo Negro Jr. and Flammer taking on like those other two teams. And they actually went and won the whole damn match. How crazy is that? They won the match. They took home the belts, but didn't technically take home the belts because the belts weren't there because obviously they were still in America. So Conan was like, I'm going to send somebody over there to get those belts. Don't you worry about that. We're going to do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we've got new champions because Mello and Guevara were stripped, and that's just it, really. What a bizarre way to end that 243-day reign, which wasn't that notable. Let's be honest. It kind of happened and just went by because of like all the no-showing and everything else. But it's done, I guess. That's that. And we've got new champions and we can all just move on with our lives. And speaking of moving on with our lives, we're going to move on to some Twitter questions because I was panicking this morning, completely forgot that I'd not sent out a request for Twitter questions and just said, help me guys. And you did. So thank you very much. So the first one we're going to talk about here is from Nick Johnson at Daisates. Sorry, I'm terrible at reading. But we've got here, what were your top 3 matches in 2022? I'm assuming nothing on Rampage or SmackDown on Friday would make the list. I mean, there's been some good stuff. You had the Ricochet Santos Escobar thing. That was pretty good at the end of the World Cup. That was a pretty cool match. But yeah, you're right. It's not really going to make any of my list because we've got a lot of awesome matches that's happened this year. And I'd say my first one's probably Gunther Sheamus because I was there. It was hard hitting. I was millions of miles away and I could still hear every single chop and clothesline. It was vicious and I love that kind of stuff. And after that, I'd probably go Danielson, Hangman Page. I don't know if the first or the second one. They were both pretty damn good, and that was earlier on in the year, but it still left a pretty big impression on me. I was staying up to watch those matches because they were epic. I love that one. To either or, I'm probably cheating there. But also on top of that, I go Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania because that was great. Out of the gates, it was explosive. It just had me gripped. And on a night that boasted what? Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and Steve Austin and Kevin Owens as well. I think they were on the same night. It was pretty damn good. So yeah, they're my top 3. It could change. It changes daily, it changes hourly. I don't know. There's been a lot of great matches this year, so let me know what yours are in the comment section right down below. And also our last question of the day, because again, I did this very last minute. So we'll go with what we've got. We've got Sean Delia at Sean Delia altogether. They asked, Triple H seems quite willing to repackage / revert some people from the previous regime. LA Knight, Ezekiel Elias, and seemingly Alexa Bliss and Asuka soon as examples. Who is the next major star to be repackaged under Papa H? I hope that's an ironic use of Papa H. I really do. For me, I'd say repackage. I'm not sure if she could be reverted back to her old character because I don't know how much it'd work at this current moment in time, just with where the character's gone and where the audience is right now. I'm not sure, but Bayley probably needs something happening. Maybe a repackage, maybe just something that flits her towards a babyface role. That's not necessarily the hugger because I don't think the hugger would click in quite the same way, but this heel character, for me, it's just not popping. It's not that he's completely failing. It's the worst thing I've ever seen on television. It's just not hitting the same way it did when it was through the pandemic and you had the brilliant just harassing of Michael Cole and working with Sasha Banks. It's just not, I don't know. It's not working in quite the same way. So maybe something new with her. I don't know. I don't know what that would be. I'm not being very helpful here, but I don't know what necessarily that would be. But she just needs something, bit of extra flavor, maybe just a slight shift in the character. Maybe it is just turning babyface. I'm not sure, but that's what I'd say. So that has been your news video today. I have been Gareth from WhatCulture Wrestling, stumbling my way through life and living it large in front of my blue screen with the sunlight coming out because it's a beautiful day here in Manchester where I am in the world. So let me know what you think of this lovely news video and all the stories today in the comment section right down below. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to all things WhatCulture Wrestling, WWE, whatever you want to call it. Follow myself on Twitter at gmorgan04 and follow everybody here at WhatCulture WWE. And more importantly than all of this, just have yourself the best of days because we're in that festive period, like I said. So it's just, I hope you sat there currently with a big tub of celebrations, not just chocolate, stuff in your face, and you've got wrestling on one screen, me on the other screaming at you, and you're living your best life like I am. It's been a pleasure as always, and hopefully I'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye.